silly introduction. I'm going to ask you something.
Yeah.
Are we rolling?
Was that the question?
That was it.
This year's IBC coverage is brought to you by NewTek, Blackmagic Design, Signiant, and G Technology.
So, welcome to IBC 2019. This is the next in our continuing series of epic end of show roundups, and what a day it's been. I've been to a lot of IBC shows in my time, and this is one of them. So let's just have a look, Baz, at what the big stuff is, and it's always going to be cameras, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. So one of the first things that springs to my mind is obviously the Sony announcement, the FX9, probably the big successor to the FS7 for a lot of people. It features a 6K sensor now, but it records in 4K. It's going to record RAW. How exactly that's going to happen?
You see, that's a question.
Yeah.
I actually asked. I went to a press preview of Sony. It's like wonderful event, so helpful. Everybody was so helpful until I asked, what exactly is 4K RAW when it's processed and reduced from 6K? Yeah, where is the debayering happening? I'm sorry to go down a technological rabbit hole here, but that is a deeply philosophical question which is currently unanswered.
It is. So, well, we'll probably hear in due time. At the moment, it's not recording RAW straight out of the box, right? Like, I think the first version,
it
won't do that.
There's a little bit of
firmware updating
clarity needed on that, I think.
Yeah.
But I think we're at an interesting point here because 6K is obviously a sweet spot. You know, it's 18 megapixels per frame. That's slightly more than twice the data from 4K, but it's not 8K. And it seems a logical place to stop for now in the resolution race, because it gives you genuine improvement over 4K.
Yeah.
And I think this is what's behind Sony's reasoning with that camera, which is nobody's going to watch 6K. There aren't any 6K televisions, no 6K anywhere. So let's just do that in camera. Let's do the very high quality downsampling in camera and give you much better quality 4K than you could have done if you were shooting directly in 4K.
It kind of reminded me of the F65 years back, where they had like the 8K sensor going back to 4K. It kind of feels that
and that just had an amazing look to it.
Yeah, and don't forget the color science on the FX9, because going to Venice color science is, I think, a really, really good logical next step for that camera, especially for the price point, because looking at all the features, it's just a really complete camera package. So I think that will do. I think it will do pretty well. Yeah. So
I think it will. So the next camera is the Canon C500 Mark II. They could have called it something else. I think they did call it something else.
Was it going to be a C600?
No, it was going to be called, the Chrysanthemum or something that wasn't a model name. But it's a very capable camera, and it's more expensive than the Sony. But what it can do is record RAW, Canon Cine RAW Lite, I think it's called, which is already proven with the C200. And our friend Brett Danton has been out shooting with it. He was out shooting in Spain on Wednesday, making a commercial for Jaguar Land Rover, involving like drones, Russian arms, all kinds of paraphernalia. It was really spectacular. And then, with no sleep whatsoever, he was back in Amsterdam doing the grading. I must say, having seen the rushes from the C500 Mark II, it does look amazing, because Sony's got amazing colour science, but Canon's colour science, they go back 75 years. Not with digital cameras, but it's in their DNA to get lovely skin tones. And so I think this is going to be a point where if you want to spend less and still get very high-end cinema performance, you can do that.
Yeah, because the original C500 to me always was a bit of an odd one out, a camera that a lot of people kind of seem to forget at some point. But now with this new Mark II camera, I really feel that also like the form factor, like for all the cinema quality that you get, is actually in a very small form factor. You can do tons of things with it. That's basically what Brett did. It's like you can mount like light lenses on it, and you can use it easily on a smaller gimbal, which makes your production easier, cheaper. It's just it feels like a really rounded camera, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what that actually does when it's out and about and people are getting to shoot with it.
Yep, there's an abundance of great cameras, but they all have their personalities.
Yeah.
It's not a big problem to choose between them if you look into it and you see that they all have their separate personalities. So just one thing I wanted to mention was I had a really wonderful half hour with the CEO of Canon Europe, who was, until a few months ago, the CEO of Canon USA. And he's an incredibly cultured person, very, very thoughtful about the whole science of cameras. And I won't go into it now because it's very deep. You'll have to read about this in RedShark, which you will in a few days. But people sometimes criticise Canon for being too slow to, catch up with other people, or not doing exactly what people want. And what he explained that whole process to me. And just to sum it up, it's the process of not wanting to bring out a product until it's absolutely right. Because Canon has lenses, they have sensors, and they have processing. And they have to get all three of those right and perfect before they bring out a product. And they'd rather delay the launch of a product until they've got all of those things right.
That's interesting.
It was a really deep conversation. I'm very grateful to him. And you'll certainly read more about that in RedShark. But Canon is a quite different company to the way people see it, as far as I can tell from that conversation.
Feels like a more zen approach then.
Exactly that, yeah. Okay, so we're going to sleep now.
Yeah, no, I'm going to meditate.
I think you should.
Yes.